This video is about white privilege. It is something I have. It is something that I only realised I had 3 or 4 days ago. Now, everything that's been happening across the globe and where that stemmed from with the murder of George Floyd, which is exactly what it was, his murder, there's a positivity that has come out of that, huge positivity. And one of the biggest things that I see is the way that forced is the wrong word, but the way it's given me better understanding to look at the issue and the problem. And I guess for me, if you can stick with me for 4.5 minutes, I think this video is going to be quite key in terms of explaining it. But for me, I didn't quite see the problem in the extreme sense or the extreme way that there is a problem, there is a big problem. And because I didn't see the problem, I didn't recognize there was a problem. And I'm going to try and explain that. So a couple of days ago, when it kind of appeared to me, or when it did appear to me, I was watching a film, I was watching The Avengers with my son, and I saw the Falcon, which is one of the characters, did this really cool flip, and I just went, the Falcon did a really cool flip. And my 7-year-old son went, which one? And I instinctively went, the black guy. Now, that doesn't necessarily sound wrong, but it is, and it's inherently wrong because I used the colour as the descriptive for that person. Had it been Thor or Iron Man or Captain America or Bruce Banner, I wouldn't have dreamed of saying it's the white guy, not just because there's more of them and therefore I have to use a different distinctive, but because it's ingrained in me to use the colour as the distinctive if you're not white. Now that's not because I'm racist, because I'm not. I've not been brought up in a racist family or a racist household. None of my friends are racist, none of my family are, nobody I work with is. But it stems right to the root cause of the problem of white privilege, which I didn't realise I had until the other day. If you'd asked me what white privilege is, I would have said it's somebody at the very top end of society, very rich, very wealthy, very upper class. I would have said that is somebody who's white privilege, because to me, they have privilege beyond what I've had, and therefore that's what I see as white privilege. But if I'd started lower down, let's say, and I use that word carefully, but if I'd started in a different position in life, you would look at me and say, that's white privilege. For me, the bottom line is, my wife made a really good point to this to me earlier. We have grown up in predominantly white society. We've got white friends, white family. We've gone to school predominantly in white schools, in white communities. And that is part of the problem, because we don't have the understanding, because we've not experienced it, nor do we know enough people that have experienced the other side of not being white. Now, I'm trying to say this very carefully, but I've probably got more opportunity than most people because I'm male, because I'm white, because I'm from arguably a middle-class family with a good upbringing. Yes, my parents are divorced, but they've always got on very, very well. So, I've had a very stable background, and that's enabled me, it's given me the advantages, and they are advantages that many, many, many people don't have. And I didn't recognise those as advantages, because to me, the advantage is going to private school and to having lots of money and, being able to do all those kind of things. So it's about position. And I guess what I'm getting to, because again, I was asked, why am I doing this video? What's the whole point? And for me, it's all about the change. I want my kids to be able to watch this and say, wow, Dad got it wrong, and he was part of the problem, but he's recognised that, and now he wants to be part of the solution. And I want them to recognise that, because I want them to be able to grow themselves, recognise problems, and look for solutions. And you can't find a solution unless you see there's a problem. And that's part of it. I didn't recognise white privilege as a problem until all this has happened, until this movement's happened. So I think that's a really positive thing to come out of it. Now, how I'm going to do something about that, if I'm brutally honest, at this stage, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I do recognise that I am part of the issue and I need to do something to change. I need to change to help society change, to help people change, to help my children change, to help the world change, because it is crazy that we live in a world where, for me, the descriptive for when I see white people is to use maybe the colour of their hair, maybe it's what they're wearing type of stuff, but the descriptive when I look at somebody of colour is I go to the colour as the descriptive. That's wrong, that shouldn't happen. But on top of that, it's all the other things that kind of come along with it. And I could throw, very quickly, female rights into there. Again, a few weeks ago, I watched Captain Marvel with my daughter, and I watched her in absolute awe of this woman who was doing all these amazing things. And it dawned on me that she hasn't really seen that to date. She's 9 and she hasn't seen a female taking the strong character lead and being the hero in that instance. And that was quite a hard-hitting message for me, because women got the right to vote and equal rights, so they say, years ago, like 60 years ago, and yet we're still having the same argument about women fighting for equal pay. It shouldn't be an argument, it should just happen. And we shouldn't be in 2020 still talking about equal rights for females and equal pay. We shouldn't still be talking about racism and how people are treated unfairly. It shouldn't happen in 2020. I know it's a bigger subject. I get it's complex, and I get that it dates back years and years and years and years. And a good chunk of it is not my fault any more than it's the fault of somebody that doesn't have the same privileges and the same advantages I've had. So I guess to round this up, I recognise that I need to do something different to be part of the solution, rather than just not even recognising there's a problem. And like I said, I don't know what that is, but I am going to work hard on that. I'm going to think about that a lot. I'm going to start speaking to a lot of people about that and try to see what I can do to help be part of the solution. And that's kind of it. So I encourage you to do the same, and I'd love to hear from people that have ideas in terms of how to be better part of the solution. So, and that's it for me for tonight.